In our first story, we take you to the skies and the streets of Jackson to explore the impact that the legendary Flying Dutchman had on Mississippi. On May 10, 1940, Nazi Germany invaded Holland, driving its government into exile. The Dutch military retreated to its holdings in the South Pacific, but were forced to evacuate to Australia when the Imperial Japanese advanced against Java and the East Indies in February of 1942. Fearing yet another invasion, the Air Force of the Netherlands East Indies and the Dutch Navy began to search for a safe place to train their pilots. They chose Hawkins Field in Jackson, Mississippi.
It was in May of 1942, May the 8th. We were driving in a carpool, about 5 or 6 of us talking and having a good time. And we got to the entrance of the air base and saw these tall, good-looking guys, tan, blonde, with shorts and knee socks on.
Their uniforms were different. And of course, then young girls looked at the uniforms.
I was walking up the Capitol Street and I saw these 4 gentlemen coming down, and some of them had on shorts and some of them had on winter clothes, and I thought, gee, that's a strange looking group of boys. Where are they from?
And they looked, we just never seen anything like that before. It was interesting. I think all the conversation stopped the minute we saw that.
I was working at a little drugstore there across the street from the Y. So while I was working there, some of them would come over to have a sandwich and a Coke or something to drink.
Well, I worked after school at Walgreens down on Capitol Street. And that was the place where the Dutchman came every afternoon and on the weekends.
It was at a birthday party for another Dutchman at the rotisserie. And there were a lot of us at a long table, and he sat directly across from me.
They knew how to treat a lady. Opened the car doors for her, pulled out the chair for you. They just were very nice.
I didn't know that Leo was one of them. He came in and one day he came by and he said he had seen me there a few days before then, and he just wondered if he could come to see me.
And he was entertaining everybody around and just seemed to be a very interesting type guy, you know.
I had a girlfriend, and she was dating the Dutch flyers, but she wouldn't go unless I went with her. And I think the one that she was dating at that time got tired of me tagging along all the time. So he brought me a date, and it turned out to be Johnny Veenstra.
We started going out with him, and I thought he was the best thing since sliced bread, or however you want to make a phrase of it. But yeah, he was a wonderful person. I just loved him dearly.
I wasn't ready to get married. Said, you know, after the war, we still feel this way, you know. We've got more, you're older and I'm older too, because he wasn't but 21.
I said, unless we are married, and then we can, you know, live together. So he went and got licensed. I didn't know at that time that he was supposed to have a permit from the government to be married.
We decided we wanted to get married, but you had to get permission from the officer that took care of that.
We just assumed we would get married. And Jan was, after the war, he was planning to come back over here but couldn't get leave. So I packed my wedding dress and my trousseau and went over there.
A friend of his and my girlfriend, they went with us and we got married there in Brandon.
So we got married without permission. This is a true story.
His family had planned all the wedding, and it was in a big cathedral-type church, you know, big Catholic church. Big dinner afterwards and reception.
It was just quite an experience and a big part of my life, and it still is a big part of my life because I've got two wonderful sons. They came from that, and I wouldn't change a thing about it.
He said to me, I knew he looked very sad when he walked in and pale, and I thought, well, what's wrong? And he said, I've just got some bad news. And I said, well, what is it? I can understand it, you know, if you just tell me what's happened. And he said, I have to leave and go back to the base. I can't live here anymore. And I said, why? And he said, because they think that I'm married in Java. And of course that tore my heart out, you know, and so what do? I had knelt down in front of him in a chair, so I just wanted to slap him, you know, I did at that time. I was so hurt over it. And I thought, this can't be the end, but it was, and
But I can say this, there's nothing like your first love. And I think most people that have had that first love, they know when they have, it's different.
So I thought I wouldn't be able to live after that. What could I do? I married a person that I just loved so much that I didn't think that I could stand to be without him. So sure enough, at that moment, he had to give up his clothes and leave. He had no moment. They wouldn't give him a minute to stay there any longer.
But I found out early on, God gave us a heart that's big enough for all the people He sends our way. There's a room for 'em in our hearts.
I got a telegram from the government saying that Leo his plane had been shot down and that there were no survivors. Most love I'd ever had in my life, and I guess that's why it meant so much to me, you know. When I met him, and he was so kind and good and respectful, and so I was so thankful that I had the chance to enjoy that lifestyle, even if it was just a short one.
He was sitting in the back seat and I'm sitting up front. He leaned over, put his arms around me and hugged me and whispered in my ear, I'll always love you. And he gave me a kiss. That was my last time to see him.